Spider-Man Far From Home is the next Spider-Man film in the MCU and the next film in his series, and the events of this film pick up pretty much exactly right after the events of Avengers Endgame. So of course, if you somehow still haven't seen Endgame yet, I don't know how you haven't yet. Well, obviously you haven't because it still hasn't been Avatar yet. So go see Endgame before you see this, because is pretty important to the film. And we see Peter and his friends going on a school field trip as Peter tries to deal with the new responsibilities that have been passed on to him because of the events of Endgame, but how he still wants to have a normal life, how he wants to tell MJ how he feels and everything like that. And obviously world-ending threats appear, Mysterio appears, and now Peter's got all of this new stuff going on while he's still trying to figure out how to have a normal life. And my gosh, this film was amazing. I love this film so much. I'm gonna keep this review as spoiler free as I possibly can. That's why you're not going to see any video clips of any trailers or anything through this, because I wanted you to go in as fresh of an experience as this as I was. And my gosh, this film was so much fun. Tom Holland, as always, he is fantastic as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And again, with his performance in this one, he elevated to another emotional and level, because he has a lot more stress and things on his mind in this one than he really ever has. And to see him go through all that and how he deals with that, was fantastic. And several scenes that he has with Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who is freaking fantastic in this, is really great to see him actually really open up about the stuff that he's dealing with, which honestly I really don't see a whole lot of in other Spider-Man stuff. There's occasional moments, but I feel this really taps into Peter's psyche in a way that not really many others have. It did surprisingly well, and there's several scenes throughout the film that deal with this stuff really well. There's so much I want to talk about, but I obviously can't, because I want to keep it as spoiler free as possible. But the way that it deals with everything that Peter has been dealing with because of Endgame, and what he's dealing with in this film is great, and I thought I did a great job with that. Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, my gosh, perfect freaking casting, man. He is just, I'm not gonna give anything away about Mysterio, because if you've seen the trailers, then what it is, but if you also know the comics, you also know what he is, so that whole thing. But they do a great job with him. He's another great character to add to the roster of stuff. He's just, I want to talk about him so much, but I can't. That frustrates me so much. I might do a spoiler video after I see the film again, I'm not sure, but just everything that his character is, his backstory, and everything that just everything about him, if you know what I mean, if you've seen the film, then how great it was. I really want to delve deep more into it, but if I do, it can spoil a lot, so I'm not going to dive any more deep. But Jake Gyllenhaal was perfect casting for Mysterio. Mysterio was a fantastic character to add to this, and if they keep this hot streak going, it's going to be an amazing series. The story in this one, you really can't compare it to Homecoming, because this one is much more of a personal story for Peter, which is weird to say because Homecoming also kind of was, but this one is more of now he has to actually deal with these responsibilities, but really he doesn't want to, because he just needs a break after everything that's happened, and this vacation is his chance, and now he wants to tell MJ how he feels about her, and just all that whole dynamic was adorable. And just seeing this was probably one of the, besides Peter and Gwen in the Amazing Spider-Man series, this is definitely the second best romance in the Spider-Man series, because Peter and MJ in the original trilogy, I go back and rewatch these films all the time. I'm just this is not a good relationship. This is nothing against the actors, but it's just they're not written their romantic connection, and pretty much anything else is just it's missing so much. But in this one, Peter and MJ's their connection, everything about them, their relationship, and how it's all built up is done so much better. I'm baffled. But yeah, I loved it. I love the way that they changed MJ's character for this world. I love Zendaya; she is great in this. I can't wait to see where they take her and Peter's relationship in the future, especially after what happens in this film. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens going down the road. They're absolutely adorable together. They have great chemistry. But yeah, I just loved it. Now Ned, my man Ned, he was again scene stealer. He was fantastic, and this is not any noticeable bad spoilers or anything, but if you don't want to know what I'm about to say, trust me, this is not this does not spoil anything major. This is just for Ned specifically, but if you don't want to know, then go to this time code, because this is the only time I'll talk about it. So Ned and Betty Brant, they become a couple like out of nowhere. It's like on the plane, like seats get like switched around for stuff, and Ned ends up sitting next to Betty, and you think like, oh, nothing's gonna happen. Then like once the plane ride's over, they're a couple, and like I'm just like, oh. And it's so adorable, just like everything that happens with them. Ned and Betty, the actors playing them, they're great together. I love that. Ned is just always one of my favorites, and just it was good. It was wholesome. It was wholehearted. I enjoyed it. The action and visuals of this one are probably some of the strongest in any Spider-Man films. Obviously, I'm not going to count Into the Spider-Verse because that's its own thing. It's its own animated film universe, so I'm not really going to count that. But like, the action scenes in this film were freaking fantastic. And just like with everything that happens in the story, just seeing like, all this like unfold, it's just like, that's crazy. I love it. Oh my gosh. Just like, it's so good. Honestly, I don't really think I have any real weaknesses with the film. There was like one thing with Nick Fury, like I'm not gonna get into why, but at first I was like, why aren't you really explaining this more? But then by the end credits, it's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense now. Okay, I got it. And so, but I wish that like they could have explored more because of the reasons of why they couldn't. But it would have been cool to see that, and I think they do explore that enough. With just Peter's pressure of everything, they do explore plenty. And I really enjoyed that. And this film had like a great emotional like weight to it, much more different than pretty much any of the other ones. Nothing like make you cry or anything like that, but like to really get like why he's so freaking stressed about everything. And Tom Holland's performance is probably the best one he's given as Spider-Man in any of the films. Just everything that his character goes through, he plays off so perfectly. A lot of stuff happens that I can't go through, but when it happens, changes the whole film. Everything just like, and just like, it's great when it happens. I loved it. It never felt forced, and like it happens like right at the perfect time, so that way like it builds up perfectly. And that's all I'm gonna say anything about that specific thing, but you know what I'm talking about. And like, it's great. It's done well. I loved it. John Watts is still a great director. I loved him doing Homecoming, and this was great. Also, the humor in the film was pretty much just as good as the first one. There really wasn't, and there was no downgrade to the humor at all. I do think that while I love Peter and MJ's relationship in this, I think because like in Homecoming they never really built their relationship up together. They built the characters up, but not like so much their relationship, and now it kind of thrusts into like, Peter like, like likes MJ, wants to tell her about it. It just seems like that, like I wish that before we had like a little bit more of that, like some kind of real scene interactions with them in Homecoming at least. But like that's a minute gripe of mine. But again, it's minute. It's minute. This film, like, I loved it. Oh, by the way, if you're one of those people that for some reason doesn't stick around for the end credits, I don't know why you haven't by this point, but stay for these end credits. I can't stress this enough. Stay for both of them. For the love of all that's holy, stay for both of them. Like, that's all I'm going to say, but stay for both. You won't be disappointed. You're going to be like, what? So yeah, Spider-Man Far From Home was a huge amount of fun. It was so much, so much fun, so good. Yes, great things. It's another great addition to the MCU. As a like conclusive finality of the whole like Phase 3 of the MCU. Didn't necessarily need to be the end of the Phase 3. Like Endgame would have been a perfect ending for it. But like this is another like nice continuation of it. And like the film stands on its own by any means necessary. To like really understand what's going on in this film, obviously see Homecoming, Infinity War, and Endgame. That's really what's going to help you out with this film. The acting from everyone, from all the new characters to the old characters. Tom Holland, he's great. Zendaya, she's great. Every other character, Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic. The effects, the action, the story, everything that happens is just wonderful. I thought it was great. It might be better than Homecoming in my eyes, and it might be my second favorite Spider-Man movie. First favorite is obviously Into the Spider-Verse. It's that good. I'm going to go see it like 50 more times because I absolutely love it. If you love Tom Holland's Spider-Man, if you love these Spider-Man movies, if you love the MCU, then like, why haven't you seen it yet? Like, it's released on Tuesday, the weirdest release date of all, but go see it, please. It's fantastic. I'm going to give Spider-Man Far From Home a 9 out of 10. I absolutely love this movie. I think it's fantastic. It's great. It's wonderful. I can say like all great things about it. So yeah, that's my like as spoiler free review as I possibly can make it without like giving away much detail, because I'm stressed trying to like not spoil anything. So go see Far From Home, and then like I will most likely be doing a spoiler review, so that way I can actually talk about things in detail within the coming days. And so yeah, if you like that video, make sure that you leave a like and comment as well, and make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, hit that bell icon so that way you can stay notified. And I will see you all next time. All right, peace.